Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we will be continuing on with our Star Wars series onto Jedi Survivor and its Platinum. Before we start, I would highly recommend that you go back and watch my Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order video where we get the Platinum in that game as well, and then you're caught up in everything as we head into the sequel's Platinum. Alright, so with this game being fairly new, about, I guess, almost 2 months now since it's been out, I am going to try to avoid as many spoilers as possible. There may be some minor spoilers just due to the trophies, as some of them are story related ones, but I won't give away any major plot points, so don't worry about spoilers too much. So just a quick little plot summary is that it is 5 years after the first game, and it is pretty much just continuing on Cal's journey as he tries to survive the Empire's tyranny. Now, in terms of trophies, there are actually 54 trophies to get in this game, including the Platinum. They are very similar to the trophies in the first game. So again, go watch my Fallen Order video, as it just pretty much consists of combat trophies, some collectible trophies, obviously some story trophies, and then the odd miscellaneous trophies as well. And so when I did Platinum this game, there actually was no guide yet, but PSN Profiles has since released a guide which says that the game is about a 3 out of 10 difficulty, takes one playthrough, and takes about 50 hours to complete, which I probably agree with what I did as well, so yeah, I'd agree with that.
Okay.
So without further ado, let's just get into the trophies. So step 1 of this trophy journey is actually going to be very similar to the first game, as again I wanted to get the Platinum on the final story trophy, so I would finish the game right at the very end and get the Platinum at the same time. Hopefully I don't stuff it up like I did in the first game. But yeah, pretty much what you want to do is just beat the game whilst exploring as much as possible and getting as many trophies as you can up until just before the final mission. So first up, I'd just like to say, when you start this game, they have this really cool flashback sequence of the Fallen Order, like retelling the story. It is so well done, like the animation, it's like really cool the way they did it. Even though I had just played in Fallen Order, so I knew what happened, it was still like a really good way to remind us of what happened in the previous game.
So where to now?
So again, I decided to just play the game on the medium difficulty, as there are no difficulty related trophies. I believe they added a new difficulty in this game, Jedi Master, I think, because there was only 4 difficulties originally, now there's 5, so I just did Jedi Knight again, which is now the middle one, whereas Fallen Order was the second hardest, so technically it's the same thing, but it seems kind of easier now. So now actually getting into the game, again it introduces us to the skill tree, which is returns in this game, and this time it looks slightly different, but there is one trophy there we have to upgrade 3 different trees fully to the max, so we'll definitely be getting that one. And again, Force Echoes are in this game, but surprisingly there are actually no trophies related to Force Echoes this time. And this is also the same with chests, however there are some customizable things you need for trophies, so there are some chests that you do need to find which have the certain customization options in them. And again, this is the same with scans as well, there are no trophies related to it, however it is back in the game. However, you do also need to scan every enemy type again though. They also fixed the map in this game, it is so much better than the first game. And the parkour goes crazy in this game, as there are many new features such as hanging from the ceiling, and an ascension cable that literally makes you feel like Batman as you grapple from place to place, and also some other things that we will unlock later on. There are also now companions in this game as well, as we have people helping us out with certain environments, and they can also attack enemies as well. There is also now currency in this game in the form of treasures, such as this Priorite Shard, and there are other forms of it as well that you can find, and there are a few trophies related to buying certain items from the stores that you can use these treasures to buy things from. And they also added the iconic Jedi mind trick. And here's another parkour thing, is you can jump off walls and then return by jumping back onto them, or by jumping from wall to wall, which makes you feel like Mario as well. In this first tutorial area as well, I also got my first stim pack, which surprisingly, there actually is no trophy related to finding all the stim packs like in the first game. But we do come across a new collectible called a Force Essence. However, again, there are no trophies related to finding these. And finally, we get to my first trophy, which is Mirror Match. A confused enemy defeats an enemy of the same type. So this is with the Jedi Mind Trick ability, you can trick the enemies into attacking each other. And we also unlock our first stance, which is the Dual Stance, which you can actually use separately in this game. And just after that, we actually get our first story trophy, which is Rooftop Duel, which is for defeating an Inquisitor. Just following that, I got another story trophy for Saw Gerrera, which is breaking free from the grasp of the Empire. And here I was just walking around the Mantis, as we are back in it for this game as well, just seeing if they'd changed anything. Everything looks pretty much the same, but just new updated graphics. One thing they did change though is the Jedi lightsaber customization. It is very in-depth now, down to the fact that you can actually make it look like more new and older, the actual lightsaber and its materials. It's very in-depth. And this is actually also the same for BD1 as well. Another new gameplay feature is that you can actually use BD as like binoculars, which is pretty cool, and you can set waypoints to see where you need to go next. And as I mentioned before, here I actually got my first enemy scan, and you do need to get every single enemy type scanned in order to get a trophy. So think about that for later. Another awesome feature that they improved on in this game as well is they added fast travel between these rest points. Oh, it makes it so much easier, especially for later on collectibles and backtracking and whatnot. And here I actually got a hair type for Cal, the mullet, which we actually do need for a trophy later on, so make sure you don't miss it.
It's me, Mario!
Here I was able to pet a Bogling, which is, I think, meant to be a trophy, which I do get later on, but for some reason I didn't get it on my first time petting it. And as you can see, look at how beautiful this game is. Another new feature they added is the addition of rumors, aka side quests. And there are a few trophies that are related to these. Speaking of side quests, that actually led me to this guy, the Rancor, which was actually quite a tough boss. But there is actually a trophy related to killing all of the legendary adversaries, and the Rancor is one of them. So that side quest, I guess, indirectly relates to the trophy, but we'll get that later on, remember that. Another new addition to the game is the addition of perks, which let you just change the way you play the game, improve certain stats, and make you more powerful. And later on, there is a trophy that requires you to have a perk in all the slots, so you have to unlock all the perk slots as well. And here we are onto the fourth trophy, which is, can you pet the Bogling? You can pet the Bogling. So this is what I was talking about earlier. It is a trophy, petting a Bogling. I think it's just one. I don't know, maybe it's two. But yeah, I think all you have to do is just pet a Bogling once. And we're still going. Another new feature they added is the garden on top of the main hub area. And there are trophies related to filling out this garden as well. And here was the fifth trophy I got, which was They Never Saw It Coming, strike an unaware enemy 20 times. So this one, yeah, just doing a stealth attack on enemies by clicking square. You should get this just by playing through the game. Another new feature they added was these things called Force Tears, which are like these little challenges you can go into and you have to complete. It can be either parkour or combat, and there is a trophy related to completing all of them too. Onto the sixth trophy, Hey Look at Us! Equip a new cosmetic in every Cal slot. So again, this one you will probably do just by playing through the game. Just make sure you customize Cal, I guess. Like, seriously, you're a bit boring if you just stay with the same thing the whole time. Anyway, onto our seventh trophy, Grab Some Seat. Chat with the owner of the Kobo Cantina. Another story-related trophy. Right after that, got another trophy, Cleaning Up, Refresh the Refresher. Now this is actually quite a funny miscellaneous one. In the Kobo Cantina, there is a toilet you can find here. And all you have to do is unblock the toilet and you get a Pyrite shard and the trophy too. Then onto our 9th trophy, the Past Made Present. Release the Jedi from the Bacta tank, another story related trophy. And here is another new feature to this game, which is the ability to tame creatures, aka you can now get mounts in this game. And this is one of them. Makes it a lot easier traversing across the open world, especially the main hub planet Koboh. On to the next trophy, which is called Catch, which is for hitting 3 enemies with a single roller mine. So roller mine's a new type of enemy. All you have to do is pull it with force pull and then push it at 3 enemies and blow them all up. Next trophy up is Riposte. Parry a force pull resisting enemy. So this one, some enemies are resistant to pulling, and then as they jump at you, you want to parry at the last second. Here in this enemy base, I also came across this cool little secret. As you try to pick up the Pyrite shard, you get dropped down into this little dungeon area, and it's the spawn of Ogdo. Oh, this brings back bad memories from the first game. I died a few times on this guy, so I actually had to come back later in the game to try and beat him. Anyway, moving on, we get our next trophy, which is Greasy Money, which is trading 25 collected items. So this is just going to one of the many stores in the game and using the treasures to buy 25 items. Again, another new addition is the Holo Tactics minigame. So it's like a board game thing, and you have to defeat every opponent actually for a trophy. So I will get that later on. But it's a bit RNG. I had to use a guide a few times to figure it out, but I'll finish it off later on. Next up, another trophy, Survivors We Adapt. Traveled together with a Night Sister. So again, another story related trophy. The next trophy following that is You've Got a Friend. Direct your companions to assist in combat 10 times each. So this one's the only real missable one, as some companions you can't use later on in the game, so just make sure you're remembering to use the attack as much as possible. The next trophy is Among the Masters, which is meeting the Jedi Masters. That is another story related trophy. And just following that, we actually unlocked a new stance, which is the blaster stance. So you wield the lightsaber and blaster at the same time, which is pretty cool, which it is actually, we need that for a trophy later on, along with this stormtrooper here actually, remember him, that'll be used for a trophy later on as well. We then got our next trophy, which is Han Slolo. Defeat 50 enemies under the effect of slow. So this one you should get just by playing throughout the game, as the slow ability is kind of your special in this game, so you should get this done pretty easy. So with the blaster stance, we can actually customize our blaster now too, which will be used in a trophy as well. And just after that, we actually locked our 5th and final stance, which is the crossguard stance. This makes it like a big claymore kind of weapon. The lightsaber, it is very cool to use and it helps with a trophy later on as well. Continuing to move through the story, we also unlocked Cage Bounties. So she can give us bounties that we can then go and try and take out, and this of course is used for trophies later on. And actually at the same time, I got the trophy Who Gives a Puck? Obtain your first bounty. So that is again of course for talking to Cage and unlocking bounties. Moving on, trophy 18 is Now This Isn't Pod Racing. Travel 500 meters of distance while riding creatures. So this one you should just get by playing through the game, especially with those flying creatures, and you should eventually get to 500 meters just by riding on creatures. Continuing on, I came across another legendary adversary I had to take out, which was this golden Skriton here. I then spoke to Pilly here, who actually helps us make our garden a lot bigger and can expand it, which of course is going to be used for a trophy later on. So you talk to her on the story path. I then also unlocked a new ability to dash while in midair as well, so you can double jump and then dash, which is a really cool feature. It makes parkour a lot more fun and moving around a lot more fun. Next trophy up was Kitted Out. Customize BD1, the blaster, and Cal's lightsaber with new parts. So this is why we needed to unlock the blaster and the cross guard stance, so we could fully equip them and change the look of them and customize them. I also unlocked Merrin's Charm, which allows you to dash through these green laser gates, which just shows you how crazy the parkour can actually get, as once you go through the gate it resets your double jump and dash, so you can do it all over again. And it just creates some crazy combos. Next trophy up was called For the Path, which was for protecting Pilgrim's Sanctuary. So this is just again another story related trophy. After that, I then took out another legendary enemy, which was this time the Sutaban Alpha. And then after that, I recruited the best character in the game, good old Scuva and his accent.
I guess not.
You're the aspect of a fisher, lad. And lucky for you, we're perched just above the lair of the sea fish.
And so he actually unlocks the ability to gain fish in the aquarium back at the Kobo Cantina. And so we need that for a trophy later on as well. And so I unlocked my first fish, the sea fish. I believe that is one of 12 we need to get. And straight after that, I actually got another fish, and your best bet to find these is just look for bodies of water, and Scuva will be most likely waiting for you, and he'll do his little animation and throw a fish back up into the boat, and there's you another fish. And this time it was the me fish, so 2 out of 12. I then did some exploring, and I actually unlocked an ability for BD1, which was the Electro Dart. Now this you do actually need for the main story, but you can get it early just by exploring like I did, and I would highly recommend it as it unlocks some new areas and makes you not have to backtrack later on to get to them. Whilst exploring, I then came across the most fearsome legendary enemy of them all, Rick the Dog Technician. This guy was by far the hardest boss in the game. Oh, never mind. And now we move on to where I actually found the first bounty, Kip O'Star. So there is a trophy related to taking out all these bounties and then doing something at the end of that as well. But we'll get to that later. I then took out another boss, Vashtan Wolf. Then found good old Scuva in another location and got the next fish. Then found him again to get the Glotsome Crab, and then got the next trophy, which was Skywalker, which is for keeping your feet off the ground and walls for 60 seconds, which honestly I have no idea how I got, because I got it in a cutscene, so I think I must have glitched the game out. Honestly do not know how. I guess you just do it what it says, the explanation, but I don't know how I got it, honestly. I then unlocked a new ability for lifting and slamming enemies and other objects around the environment, which of course is going to be used for a trophy later on, and they're just cool abilities in general, really good additions. And you can do cool little combos like this, where you can take out the enemy by lifting him into electricity. Pretty neat. And this can also be done by slamming enemies down as well that are on a platform, for example. I then beat another legendary enemy, the Massif. I then got the trophy, the Jedi Path, which was for fully upgrading 3 skill trees. So you should get this just by going through the story, as long as you're focusing on completing a full skill tree. But like me, if you explore, you probably get all of the skill tree done by the end of the game. Straight after that, got the trophy Out of Bedlam, which was for rescuing a friend from the Bedlam Raiders. So that is another story-related trophy. And Cal makes this nice little callback to the first game.
I hate these things.
You know why he hates these things is obviously because of what happened with his master in Order 66. Straight after that, I defeated another legendary enemy, the Maya Terror. I then got another fish from Scuva. This time it was the Frilled Newt. I then got another trophy. This time it was There Is No Try. Help lift a ship out of the tar pits. So this is a bit of a random miscellaneous one, but near the start of the game, you can lift this ship out of the tar pits. So once you've got force lift, just go back and do this and you'll get a free trophy. I then defeated the Goroko Matriarch, another legendary enemy. And another legendary enemy, B2D2, who I literally just pushed off a cliff. I then defeated a boss, Anoth Estra, and then finally got another trophy. This time it was Gambler, which was for winning all Holo Tactics matches, like I mentioned before. I did use a guide for some of them, as it is a bit RNG, and I honestly couldn't be bothered trying to figure it out myself. But yeah, once you've done all the different enemies and opponents in Holo Tactics, you'll get the trophy. And back into some more legendary enemies, I defeated E3 VE3. I then got the trophy Max Capacity, which is for having a packed cantina. So this one you just have to recruit every NPC in the game, and that ranges from Scuva, Pili, and then the final one I got was this Jawa, but there are plenty others you have to get as well. After that, I defeated the Vile Bilemore, another legendary enemy. I then got the trophy This Is Cannon for pushing an enemy into the Shattered Moon mining cannon, so pretty simple. force push an enemy into the mining cannon as it goes off. Also, the title "This is Canon" makes me actually is kind of funny, as it makes me think of, I recently saw Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Great movie, highly recommend you go check it out. But you know, if you've seen the movie, you know what canon means, a canon event. Anyway, after that, I unlocked another ability for Cal, which was this upgraded ascension cable, which essentially allows you to grapple onto these balloon things and jump off of them, which is very nice, as by this point in the game I'd seen these things around the map and I just did not know what to do with them, but now I've unlocked the ability. You can go backtrack and unlock some new areas. So after that, I did some backtracking and took down this legendary enemy, DL1T. I also took down the Frenzied Jotaz, another legendary enemy. Then of course got another trophy, So Uncivilized. Defeat 10 enemies with shots using the point blank skill. So this is with the blaster stance. If you click triangle just as an enemy is about to attack you, you do this really powerful point blank attack. I then found this Force Tear here, which forces you to fight against 2 Rancors at the same time, which took me a while to complete as I died a few times, but eventually I did get it. I think this was definitely one of the harder Force Tears, and remember, you do have to complete these all for a trophy. Also, really quickly, can we just talk about these little droid dudes here? Like, these aren't really directly related to a trophy, but you do get treasures off these guys, these little robots that run around away from you. They are so annoying to catch up to and try and hit to get their treasure from them. They just run and run and run, and there are some that are super annoying. But yeah, sorry, little rant over, but those dudes absolutely sucked.
Skill issue.
Anyway, I then went on to beat this pretty cool parkour Force Tear, which wasn't too bad. Then with some exploring, I was able to find this underground place where I actually got the map upgrade for treasures. Now this is really cool, as you can actually see where the treasures are on the map, and you can unlock upgrades for the other collectibles as well to see them on the map as well. So it makes it a lot easier finding collectibles, even though you don't even really need to find them for the platinum. I then went on to find Scuva again.
There's great beauty in peril, lad. And these noble beasts demand respect, you know. As you'll see.
And you know how I had that rant about these little droids before? Well, this was the most annoying guy here. I seriously have no idea how you were meant to kill this guy, because you're getting pushed back by the wind, so you can't catch up to him, and when you finally do, he's already dug into the ground and disappear. I literally had to search up how to get this guy, and apparently the best way to do it is by defeating the enemies here, picking up the shield, and throwing it at the droid to blow it up. Apparently that is the best way to do it, which was just... I don't know how I didn't think of that.
Stop crying! Where? I don't want to hear.
Anyway, I then found another fish, the fan-tailed La. I then took down another legendary enemy, Urgost, the Fist of Ravus. And then took down the boss duo of Mads Gresh and San Durson. And then finally got another trophy for Tanalor Bound, collect the Abyss Compass, which is another story-related trophy. I then got the Big Mouth Far fish. I then finally went back and took down my arch nemesis, the Spawn of Ogdo. Honestly, this was probably the hardest legendary enemy boss in the game. No lie, even harder than some of the story bosses. Some of his attacks were just unblockable, like that one there where you get sucked in by his tongue. It was so hard to dodge some of his attacks. Once you get it done, you feel very accomplished. As Spawn of Ogdo, the Ogdo Bogdo was one of the harder bosses in the first game as well, so I guess it's no surprise that they made the boss in this game just as hard. And so with defeating the Spawn of Ogdo, I got I'm a Living Legend, defeat all legendary adversaries. So as you can see, there was lots of legendary enemies that you had to take out throughout the game, and the Spawn of Ogdo was the last one I had to do. And you get a double whammy trophy here, as you get a presence I've not felt since, wear an old wardrobe staple. So you actually get the poncho from defeating Ogdo Bogdo in a chest behind him. And this nice little callback to the first game.
Talking about the story gameplay, characters, but you haven't mentioned a poncho. Can you confirm here today, will there be a poncho in the game?
I told you we weren't going to talk about this today.
See, it's in my contract. I would only agree to be in the second game if there was a poncho. You think it was because of your story that people played the first game? No. Poncho.
Anyways, enough of the poncho. I then took down another boss, Seb Eshan, and then took down another Rancor, so another legendary enemy. However, I think now that I've gotten that trophy, I think it's you only have to defeat each type of legendary enemy or boss once. Because I've still got all these other bosses and legendary enemies that I'm defeating now, but I've already got the trophy. So I think you only need to defeat each type of them at least once to get that trophy. However, we still do need to find more fish, so I got the Viscid Lurker. I then also unlocked the map upgrade for chests, so I was able to see where all the chests were on the map as well. And here is actually where I got the trophy, It's a Trap!
It's a trap!
For exploring the Funky Caverns. So that's the reward for exploring the caverns, is getting the map upgrade for chests, and so that's another miscellaneous trophy. After that, I got the Barbed Hookfish. I then got the next trophy, Tragedy, Defend the Archive. Again, this is another story related trophy. I then unlocked the map upgrade for Databank, which shows unfound databank entries, which is another collectible that we can now find on the map, which is pretty cool. I then got another story related trophy. This one was called At the Precipice, which was for surviving Nova Garen. I then got the trophy They're Probably Fine, Drop Your Mount into the Great Unknown. This is another glitch trophy. I legit have no idea how I got this because I went into a force tear and I just randomly got this, but I assume you're just meant to ride your mount into the abyss or some big drop, I guess, to get it properly. I then got the trophy Star Tours, which is for discovering and completing all Jedi chambers. I forgot to mention this earlier, but these are these little mini shrine things that you can do. They remind me a lot of shrines from Breath of the Wild, as it's like these little puzzle things that you have to figure out to get to the end, and you get like a skill point or certain perk from doing them. And there are 7, I believe, you have to do, and once you get them all, you unlock that trophy, and you also unlock the map upgrade for showing where upgrades are on the map as well, which is pretty useful. I then got another story trophy, Into the Abyss, which is discovering the route to Tanalorr. And so with that done, we're actually going to move on to step 2, as that was the final story related trophy before the end of the game. So we're going to move on to cleaning up all the other trophies first, and then we're going to move on to the final bit to get the platinum at the same time as we beat the game. So with that, we continue to get more fish in the form of the Fingerlip Garpon, and then got rid of some more of the bounties that we needed to get for another trophy as well, and some more bounties. I then got another trophy, Get Down From There, which is for attacking 20 lifted enemies, so pretty simple. Lift them in the air, and then you attack them. I do believe you need to kill them in one hit as well for it to count towards the trophy, so make sure you're doing it on some weaker enemies. I then killed another bounty, and of course got another trophy, which was One with the Force, which is avoiding 50 attacks using Focus Sight. So this one, it's automatic. If you hold down the dodge button, you do automatic dodge when enemies are trying to attack you, so you just gotta do that 50 times. I then got rid of another bounty, and then got another trophy, Pinpoint, execute 10 perfectly timed precision releases. So with the dual blade stance, if you hold down triangle, you have this move where you can do this special parry, and if you time it at the right time, you'll get a perfect precision release. By the way, I then got rid of another bounty, and then got another trophy for Slam Dunk. Slam 5 enemies with a single use of slam. So this was a good place to do it with all these bugs, and just get a big group of them and slam them all down at the same time to get 5 at the same time. Oh, and you guessed it, straight after that, I killed another bounty. And finally, after getting rid of all those bounties, I unlocked the final rumor to find Cage Vanda, where we actually take her on as a boss fight. So this was a cool little side quest where we got rid of all the bounties that she had given us, and then we actually end up fighting her in the end, and we actually get a trophy out of this. And the trophy is Cage Match. Gain the attention of a mysterious stranger. So a little spoiler there, as you can see there's a pretty cool little cameo from a pretty big Star Wars character. But yeah, we get a trophy out of defeating all the bounties. I then decided to go for another miscellaneous trophy here where you had to climb to the top of Harvest Ridge on Koboh, and this puzzle was very... I had to search up how to do this actually because I couldn't figure out how to do it, but you need to get a mount onto the lift, then use the other mount to get up here to move the lift, so then you can get the mount up top, and then use it to go out this crack in the wall so then you can jump up here, so then you can climb up to get the trophy. So once you climb up there, you get King of the World, reach the highest point of Harvest Ridge, and you got this nice little lookout over the entirety of Koboh, and a trophy too. I then got the Perk of the Job trophy, which is for equipping perks in all slots. So once I unlocked all 10 perk slots, you just have to equip a perk in each one and you'll get the trophy. I then got the Cobra Cow trophy, train with your weapons whilst wearing a headband. So you do need the headband style for this, and then you attack this Stormtrooper here. If you remember, I said this was for a trophy earlier. Also, nice little call to Cobra Kai. And you know how I mentioned we needed the mullet for a trophy before? Well, this is why. For Roadhouse, we needed to drop kick an enemy while wearing a mullet, and this Stormtrooper counts as an enemy, so with the cross guard stance, you can do a drop kick. And then finally, I got the Scuba Diving trophy for filling the aquarium in the cantina, and this is by finding the final fish that I needed. I also found this secret force tear where this little creature appears in Doma's shop. After you defeat the spawn of Ogdo, you can then do a Sense Echo, which then unlocks this secret Force Tear, which of course you do need for a trophy. Oh, and by the way, this Force Tear forces you to fight Ogdo Bogdo and the spawn of Ogdo at the same time. So he's back in this game, old mate, and then you also have to find spawn of Ogdo as well. So this is actually probably the hardest boss fight in the entire game. After dying a number of times, as these dudes are super overpowered, I did manage to beat them. Also, on a side note, this is actually what the aquarium looks like when you've fully completed it. So pretty cool, it's nice and all and clean, and you can see all the fishies you've collected along the way. I then moved on to getting the garden trophy, which I realized to expand the garden further, you actually need to find the 10 different types of garden plants. So I had to find the 3 that I was missing in order to plant them, so then Pilly will then expand the garden. If you don't have the variety of the 10 plants, she will not expand the garden to its max capacity and you won't be able to get the trophy. So here I actually got one of them, the Bluebell Squish. I then got the Tubermore. Then the final one I needed was the Golden Light Moss. Before moving on with that trophy though, I got Reconnaissance. Use BD1 to investigate a target in the distance. So this one's pretty simple. If you use the binoculars and look at an enemy, you are able to bring up the tactical guide and you will get a free trophy for it. I then unlocked the final skill in all of the skill trees. Now, I know this isn't actually a trophy requirement, but I just thought I would show it off that I was able to get all the skills in the different skill trees, which you probably should get if you are going for the platinum. Then finally got the trophy Blood, Sweat and Tears, which was for completing all of the Force Tears. Unless I've been saying this the whole time, and maybe it's Force Tears? Huh, or maybe it's Blood, Sweat and Tears? I don't know. Then I did finally get the trophy Growth Spurt, which was for finding space for a full garden. So once you've planted all 10 plants, Pilly will then, after a while, expand it to the capacity and you will get the trophy. And as you can see, this is what the garden looks like when it's at full capacity. And you do also unlock a map upgrade where you can finally see where all the seeds are on the map, which is kind of pointless as there's no trophy related to it and you already had to find all the 10 different types of plants, but it's still there as an option if you want to be extra and 100% the game. Okay, now moving on to a really annoying trophy. There is a trophy where you have to buy all of Doma's merchandise or all the items from her shop, so you do need to find all the Priorite shards in the game. That's the only treasure that you need to find all of it from. And I thought my game was glitched, as on the map I could see that there was a treasure meant to be here, but I thought it just wasn't spawning in, so I honestly thought I was going to be locked out of the platinum because of this, so I had to search it up to see how to fix this. So it turns out that the stables here where you can put your Nekkos into, you can stable them for later, you actually need to find a rare coloured one. So for example, this pink one here, I think there are other colours as well, but the pink one's the easiest. You have to stable it in the stable for later, and then what you want to do is you want to go to the Kobo Cantina, go downstairs to where your room is, rest at this meditation point, and then when you go back there, the special Nekko would have pooped out the Priorite Shard that you need. And so the easiest way to do that is by going to that meditation point, resting until a pink one spawns in there, then you just simply go and stable it, and then it will spawn this dung heap here. You just lift it up and you'll have your final Priorite Shard to then get the trophy of Splurgle, which is for purchasing all of Doma's merchandise, and that one will be done. That is technically a collectible trophy. Then got the Intergalactic Geographic trophy for scanning every type of enemy to fill out the tactical guide. So yeah, make sure you're just scanning every enemy type throughout the game so you don't have to backtrack and do this later. Then got the final story related trophy, A Place You Could Call Home, and that is for completing the entire game. And with that, I was able to get the platinum at the exact same time, the Jedi Survivor, which of course unlocking all other trophies. There we have it, the platinum for Jedi Survivor. Let's go! So I thought I'd just mention, with completing the game you do unlock a new Journey Plus and some cool little extra stuff, as you can see on the screen. That includes the red lightsaber and the party lightsaber. Woo! Alright, with the platinum done, we're gonna now move on to my rankings and what I thought of the game and its platinum. Honestly, in terms of playing it, as a Star Wars fan, I'd probably have to give it a 10 out of 10, especially if you're a Star Wars fan too. This is just more amazing Star Wars. The story goes in some really interesting directions and there's lots of twists and turns, and it's just very Star Wars. It's definitely a major improvement on the first game. Like, the first game's story was pretty good, but the story in this game is even better, I think, personally. And also the gameplay features as well have been improved out of sight, so this is just a very great sequel. The only thing I would say is I know there was quite a lot of bugs and issues, especially on the PC version of this game when it first came out. I didn't have too many problems on the PS5. I had some frame drops here and there, maybe a few glitches, but honestly it wasn't too bad for me. I do believe they have fixed a lot of these issues now, but that would probably be the only thing maybe dragging it down somewhat. But if they didn't have any issues at all, this game would be amazing. Alright, now moving on to the Platinum and 100%, as there is no DLC yet, and I'm not sure if there will be for the DLC trophies, so we're just obviously going to be ranking the Platinum as a whole. I'd probably give it a 10 out of 10 as well. I did give the last game a 9 out of 10, and the only reason I said that it wasn't a 10 out of 10 is because the map made it really annoying to go back and backtrack. But you know what they went and did? They went and fixed the map, made it a lot better, and added in upgrades where you can actually see the collectibles on the map, even though they're not really for any trophies this time. Traversing around the map is a lot easier, especially with fast travel and mounts as well. So I'd probably give it a 10 out of 10. It's pretty easy to do. None of the trophies are too hard. It's just a lot of miscellaneous trophies really, and yeah, it's just a lot of fun. Fantastic Platinum, and I highly recommend you go out and complete it for yourself. I'd just like to thank you all if you have made it this far. I really appreciate it. Remember to hit that like and subscribe button if you want to see more content on the way. Next video is going to be slightly different, as I actually went back and tried to 100% Gotham Knights again with my friend, as they brought out some more DLC for us to complete. So stay tuned for that episode coming soon. Also, currently I am working on the Horizon Zero Dawn Platinum as well, so that should be the video after that. So stay tuned for that one as well if you're interested. And lastly, I'd just like to thank you all again, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your week. And also go check out Spider-Man, very good movie. And the soundtrack absolutely slaps as well.
What a view. A lot easier to appreciate without those pilgrims. Good riddance. First time I've had a break since I got here. Nice to take a load off and appreciate the little things. Hold it right there. I won't let you through. I saw what you did to the others, Jedi scum. But you won't do it to me. Even your sorcery can't get through 15 centimeters of Imperial manufactured transparent steel, right?
Structural readouts indicate that we are perfectly secure, sir.
Oh,
You should open the door.
I should... What?
Ooh, that brother's floating in the air. How could his hands do this? Oh, someone get him out the air.